G'day to Spearo community, thanks for tuning in today. Just before we get started, we've got a couple of shout-outs. Turbo?
Yeah, that's right. We just want to say a quick thank you and g'day to Sean Hartley in Cairns. He wants us to interview himself or somebody up there in Cairns about the benefits of underwater hockey and underwater rugby. So we'll have a chat with you guys shortly, hopefully. Who else we got? We've got Julian Chapman in Oman. Shrek, you've been talking to him. He's looking to move down under, isn't he?
Yeah, he's coming over for a reconnaissance trip, so he reached out to me just to find out a bit about spearfishing in northern New South Wales and Queensland. So, g'day, Julian.
And g'day to Pete Morris. Pete wants us to interview Rachel Vercoes. Rachel's the renowned Spearo Brett Vercoes' daughter, and she holds a few women's records and is getting right into her underwater photography. So, Pete, we'll try and make that happen. No guarantees, but we'll give it a crack.
And we're also about to start sending out our top-notch email newsletter.
Top-notch. 5-star.
So we haven't sent one out yet, but sign up. It's on the website on the main page. And we're going to send out a survey to all our listeners. So we'd really love to hear some feedback from you guys. I mean, some of the listeners have written in already, but we just want to sort of gather some data and make some maybe make some changes to the show to improve it for you guys. So
I've done the survey. I loved it. I can't recommend it highly enough. I love
short
a good
and sweet.
survey.
Short and sweet. All good. So today we've got Jaga Crossingham joining us shortly. Today's show is brought to you in partnership with Adreno Spearfishing Supplies. Adreno is one of the world's biggest and best spearfishing stores. You can visit Adreno online at spearfishing.com.au or in store at their Brisbane or Sydney locations. Today, joining us from Fiji, Jaga Crossingham. Jaga is a spearfishing guide and charter operator with Freedive Fiji. He's been guiding successful spearfishing trips over there for a few years now. You can follow Freedive Fiji on Facebook and see some of the fantastic fish they've caught over the years and more recently. They've made their name from spearfishing, but they also do game fishing for line fishermen as well. And they've got a whole range of tours. So, yeah, welcome to the show, Jaga.
How you doing, guys? Glad to be here.
Yeah, good, mate. So it's round 3. We've stuffed your interview up twice, so we'll apologise on air for that now.
Yeah.
No drama.
So he's very generous joining us for the third time after some technical issues.
Mate. I wouldn't call you back. But anyway, all right. So, Jaga, you haven't always been over in Fiji, mate. Where did you start your spearfishing career?
I grew up on the mid north coast, New South Wales. There, diving around Hat Head, Southwest Rocks, Nambucca, all that sort of region. It sort of got me into the groove of things there. Started out chasing brim and blackfish, I suppose, like a lot of people.
Awesome.
They're tasty, though. Small, but they're tasty.
Flathead as well?
Yeah, the odd flathead. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I am.
Mate, you killed a few breeders, have you?
Oh, well, back in the day.
So when you started out, Jaga, did you have a mentor or sort of how did you go about getting started?
Yeah, I did. So I dived with a few guys that stand out in my mind from the days I started. One, Simon Latter, really good Jew fisherman. He's one of the only guys I think I've seen shoot a Jewfish out of a bathtub. The guy finds them anywhere, and I looked up to him all through my starting out sort of time, and followed him around till I found my feet, and it went well.
Ah, excellent. And so some of the stuff, the early lessons you learned down there in the southern sort of part of New South Wales, have they transferred over well to the more tropical waters of Fiji?
Well, they have. They definitely helped out to start with, just more so in the confidence building part of it over here, going from, a metre viz in a dirty wash hole late afternoon with 2 metre southerly swell, pushing you into a dewy hole to crystal clear warm waters over here, So it was a big adjustment, but it definitely boosted the confidence level up over here once I got here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So what were your biggest hurdles, mate? Like, I think you started out like most of us shore diving. So what are sort of a few of the hurdles that guys starting out can expect to endure shore diving?
Shore diving, when I first started out, probably, being a little bit big for my boots, I think, was jumping in the deep end of wash holes and that. Like I remember a couple of days when I'd knock off work, I'd run out with Simon straight off the front of Crescent Head, and he's like, "Okay, let's go. We're going to go into this hole and that hole." And my gosh, don't overdo it. Those wash holes are very, very, very dangerous at times. You're in and out and upside down, and it was quite overwhelming the first few times chasing those fish.
Wow. So what sort of things do you have to worry about in a wash hole? Is it current? Obviously, you got waves and sediment sort of crashing around you, so there's all sorts to worry about, I suppose.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of everything. The terrible visibility, and waves crashing over you. You try not to jam your guns into rocks and shoot your buddy and all at once.
Sounds completely opposite to
like
diving in
a sixth
Fiji.
sense to try and find those fish in there. You lay as close as you can to the bottom, I think. Cruising along the bottom and looking up for the silhouettes is about the best way that I've found to chase the old croakers.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, now it sounds like we're almost there. So, what could you share with us the story of the first memorable fish that you shot?
Would be a mile away on that note. Was another day just after work, shore dive from one of the headlands around Hathead. I was with a friend of mine, James. We walked down the cliff face with I think it was a 120 Rob Allen and some plastic fins, and as you do, chasing the blackfish around the hole, and I could hear him cooing underwater, and it was probably we're in about 6 meters of water in this wash hole, I think, and we both come up and what's going on? He's like, oh, there's a big Dewey laying there. I was like, oh, all right, let's go and have a look. So down we both go, and sort of was the first decent one that either of us had seen, I think, and spears went flying at this poor fish everywhere. I remember hitting it low in the stomach cavity, and I saw him hit it high in the tail, and then both spears come out, and we had no idea what was going on. We were a little bit beside ourselves after that experience, and we carried on for a couple of minutes after that and sort of went our separate ways. And then I turn around, and here's this big old Dewey laying in a hole sulking under a rock just with his head sticking out. So I went down and finished him off, and that was my first real nice Dewey, just under 25 kilo.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's a cracker fish.
That's a good story to tell. And then we lugged him all the way up the hill, and it was a proud moment, to say the least.
Sounded like a Shrek and Turbo combo there. I'm normally the gut shot, and Turbo would probably be guilty of a few tail shots.
Yeah.
No, my worst one's when you've got a fish on and a cod comes out of the hole and you're stringing it along that time, and I just had that cod dead to rights, like it was just gifted to me on a platter, and I still missed it. That's just awesome.
Hunting technique. What's your favourite hunting techniques while you're spearfishing, and how do you apply it successfully?
Knowing the species that you're chasing is a big plus. I think with all species, knowing their movements and how they react to different noise and sound under the water. So if we're talking about a certain species like like a wahoo over here in the super clear water, a very, very slow approach to a wahoo, especially if they're coming in on the surface. One of the good techniques I usually use is an exhale dive.
Yeah, nice.
With a real slowly sink down to either the fish's level or below it, and then approach him from the bottom, and that works like a charm every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can approach the wahoo from underneath, you'll never have a problem.
So, just to for guys that are new that have never even heard of exhale diving, so you're on the surface and you actually exhale enough air to become negatively buoyant, so that you don't need to kick it all to get down to the level that you want to spear at. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Using minimal weight. So when we're chasing wahoo, you really you want to be free and able to move without too much sort of any extra weight or more weight. You need to be usually going to be neutral buoyant around 10 meters. You want to be a bit shallower than that with the wahoo.
Right, it's never come up before. I've never actually heard anyone talk about that technique. I've tried it in the pool doing laps on an exhale, and I hate it. Like, honestly, it just hurts.
It's not the most comfortable to start with.
Yeah.
But it does work. It really does work for those fish. Like being super quiet on the surface, it does make a difference.
So I've talked to guys that come over and they're about to do a charter and they want to do a bit of pool training before. Most guys are responsible enough to be aware that they train in pairs. But is that sort of an activity you might recommend to guys if they are training in a pool, to do a bit of exhale and maybe slowly kick out 25 metres on a near empty set of lungs?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a good way to train, and it's also like a good exercise even for your normal breathe up diving. It's a good exercise to keep that because you're stretching everything the other way. It does help in the long run in both styles of diving. I think it's a very good way to train.
That was a great hunting technique. So the XL dive on the wahoo, and sort of like you talked a bit about knowing the species you're chasing and using the appropriate technique for them. So the wahoo one sounds great. I'm looking forward to trying that out because I have never got a wahoo.
All right, mate. That's your hunting technique. What's the scariest moment that you've had out spearfishing, mate?
Scariest I've had, I had a pretty close encounter with a sailfish that was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Actually, I was on the camera filming a buddy of mine that shot one. It was actually quite a nice one, around 70 kilo.
Oh.
And it was underneath it filming for this silhouette shot that I wanted to get in a bit of video footage, and using the camera that I was using, I wasn't familiar with the big fisheye lens on it, and swimming underneath the flank of the fish, come towards the pointy end. Didn't realise the distance between the fish and I saw the fish saw me, it spooked and lunged, and it actually got me in the forehead and took my mask off and my hood off, went through my suit and stuck in my wetsuit for a couple of seconds, and eventually jumped itself off. But that was a pretty scary moment.
Wow.
That was. I was very lucky there.
And it shows you, like, it's not like a really deliberate sort of oversight. It's just something that can happen out spearfishing. So wow, that would be pretty scary. So
I shot and swum with a lot of sailfish, a lot of billfish, and it caught me off guard a little bit, and the shock of each other, I think, and it just done one kick in the wrong direction, and boom, oops. Which is on our Facebook page for that one.
all right, so listeners can check that out on Facebook.
Mate, was that on an exhale? Was that on an exhale dive?
that wasn't on an XL.
Oh, mate, you're lucky. Shit.
There was a whole lot of bubbles blown after that one.
I bet there were maybe a bit of poo in the suit.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So, Veterans Vault, Pirate Pete, where are you?
Arrgh! It's time to open the Veterans Vault!
Today's Veterans Vault is proudly brought to you in partnership with Adreno Spearfishing Supplies. Spearfishing.com.au has a huge range of equipment, from the latest in speargun technology to the odds and ends that you need, like bungees, booties and budgie smugglers. Head to spearfishing.com.au to read good honest reviews and take advantage of $15 Australia-wide flat shipping and a no-hassles return policy.
So this is the part of the show where we ask our special guests to take us deep into an area of spearfishing expertise that they would like to share about. So we call it the Veterans Vault. We wanted to talk with you about charters and preparing for charters, all the things that make a good charter, and sort of, you know, everything around that, since you work for one.
Obviously, it's a big trip for a lot of people, so a lot of preparation goes into it from both sides, obviously the client and ours. Being our sort of input, I like to base a lot of our charters on moon phases, and then give the guests the option of what time of year, what they want to chase, and always try and book them, you know, at least 2 months in advance to get that training, get their gear organised, stay in contact with me. I stay in contact with the guys just to get a feel for what's going on at the time. And gear-wise, a lot of people have a lot of questions. It's new for them. So
Cool. So we talked a little bit last time we interviewed you about what amount of equipment do you sort of advise guys to bring? I mean, obviously it's different depending on what they want to chase, and I think you mentioned there's a couple of different arrangements you have with your charters. You have half-day trips, full-day trips, and then you do extended trips out on a liverboard. So, I mean, obviously it's different for every sort of thing, but so you have fairly extensive communication with the guys that come on board for charters?
yeah, we always communicate with them well prior to the trips, especially on the overnight ones. The day-to-day trips, it's kind of hard. We get a few guys that come, you know, they're on holidays, they bring their own gear. They don't need, they can bring their own gear, or if they want to travel lightly, they're with family and stuff, we've got all the gear. Anybody needs to do a day spearfishing, all quality rail guns and stuff like that. As for the liverboard stuff, being such a big trip, you want to be well prepped and being as comfortable as you can, you know. So I do try and push the guys to bring their own, you know, wetsuit, fins, mask, everything that they're comfortable in. Just so there's no, like, oh, the fins are giving me blisters, or the wetsuit doesn't fit right, you know. Just the usual stuff that you would think on, you know, if you're going on a good dive trip, you want all your own gear. Same as over here. You may only get 1 or 2 shots at that, one fish that you really want, so you want to make it count.
Don't worry, mate. I had this issue on the weekend. I got in the water and I had a rubber snap on my 1.2. And on my second dive, probably a 25 to 30 kilo cobia swam up to me. And I just went, I'm all right. I've got a 16 mil rubber, and I just wasn't up to the task, mate. But I didn't injure the fish, so I was all right. But definitely lost a fish due to poor gear prep. So what about, I'm coming over to Fiji and I want to shoot a big dogtooth tuna, mate, and I want to bring my own gear. What sort of gun would you recommend for the job?
Personally, my favourite gun for the dogtooth, I use an Amro 130, or for the real big boys, I've got a Rife Metaltech, a 1.5 with wings on it with an 8mm straight shaft, and that seems to take them down no problems. I've had steered away from the slip tips over here just because of the terrain that we're fishing in. There are a lot of ledges and overhangs, and the slip tips, unless you get that perfect shot through the meaty part of the body, like through the shoulder, somewhere really thick, they just cut themselves in half getting off,
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
So a good straight shaft in the tail, in between the 2 anal pins, seems to slow them up really good.
Righto.
Wow.
And what's your float and line setup?
Good question.
Float and big lines. My personal favourite one is just a single Rife atmosphere float with a 3-to-1 stretch bungee, about 15-foot 3-to-1 stretch bungee, then a 35-metre hard line. It's a pretty hard rig, not a lot of give in it, but as I say earlier, we try and keep them out from under those ledges, and with the sharks, get them up, get them away as quick as you can.
With the coaching that you give these guys for dogtooth, I mean, it's a notoriously sort of sought after fish and for experienced spearos. What's your sort of? I know a lot of people lose dogtooth to sharks. With the training and the systems that you use over there, how often do you lose them to sharks and maybe or breaking off or busting off?
Well, on most trips, the first couple of days you seem to lose a lot. I think it's more to impatience of the divers as well. It's very important. Like they're a shy fish. They don't handle pressure well.
Okay.
And we've noticed a lot of the times you'll see fish and they'll be on one pressure point. They'll be in one spot. There's no need to hammer them, and everybody's trying to get a shot. You dive with those fish for 2 days, they're not going anywhere, and they'll get more and more comfortable. Wait for the shot, and then you get a perfect shot and roll the fish. That's
okay, cool.
the best way to do them. They're a very spooky fish once you start killing them, and the sharks are in there amongst them. But if you treat them, you swim with them and just be calm and collected. Don't try and throw spears left, right, and centre. They will come up and play, and you can get a good kill shot on them most of the time.
I had another quick question. Sorry, I know you got something, Turbo. What are some of the most common issues that the guys that come over on charters that sort of experience?
Probably the most common issue that guys have with actually shooting and landing fish is just the clarity of the water. I think it puts a lot of people on a bum steer. Like it's, most days you're diving 35 to 40 meters, sometimes more. And dogtooth and mackerel, anything that's up against the reef, it's a little easier to gauge the distance. But like a wahoo or a sailfish, there's really nothing to gauge a distance. And I've seen guys with absolute cannons come over these big 6-10 rubber guns and still fall short on fish just because they're not close enough. That visibility and being close enough to fish is a real knack to get hold of.
Yeah.
What I try and teach guests, when you're close enough to see the eye fleck, the eye move, make the eye out, make the eyeball, follow the eyeball, get closer again, then have a shot.
Well, that's good advice, though.
Mate, the conditions there in Fiji, in terms of water temperature in summer and winter, what can we expect, and what sort of wetsuit should we be taking over there for a day's diving out with you guys?
So in the winter time, I tend to get a little cold in the winter. The water temps are around 23 to 24 and a half during the winter. It's still quite warm, but when we are drifting around on the edges for wahoo, you're obviously just laying there using your burley flashes. You're not doing a whole lot of swimming, and you get a little cold. So I do recommend the guys bring a 3 mil if they're from like down in the south, Melbourne, somewhere like that. It's a bit colder, but if they're from the tropics, they'll probably feel cold after a while. So I do tell the guys to bring a 5 mil. I wear a 5 mil in the winter time. Very different story in the summer.
In tropical Fiji, 5 mil. Yeah.
At the moment, the water's quite warm. We're looking at around 26.5, 27 at the moment, and it's quite comfortable to swim in board shorts.
Yeah, wow, that'd be awesome. I love boardies and a rash top. There's nothing better.
Free and easy.
So, during the summer months, a 3 mil top is more than enough.
Yeah.
Just for the loading pad and stuff like that.
So I was reading on the website, Freedive Fiji, it says you've got a fully licensed 30-foot sea swell with Raymarine GPS fish finder. Sounds like you rotate through quite a large area, so you're not overfishing in any of the areas. Because I think you mentioned last time that 50% or maybe slightly more of your business now is from game fishermen. Is that right?
Yeah, we do a lot of game fishing trips also to the outer islands.
So it says certified captain, instructor, and deckhand. How many years have you guys been in operation over there?
It's my 11th year now here. It'll be 11 years in February. We've been running the charters for almost 6. With me, I was diving here from day dot. Fell in love with the place straight away, So it's a lot of local knowledge between all of us. My captains are really good guys too. Been around, they're from the outer islands, so they're really knowledgeable guys on the water.
Mate, Shrek's a bit too embarrassed to ask this, but what are the range of home-baked pastries that you've got written on your website?
I get so many comments on the pastries, like, we're coming back for the pastries. Forget the spearfishing, we're coming back for the pastries.
That's what I was thinking. I was looking at the ad, I was like, yeah, I might shoot a fish, but look, they've got home-baked pastries.
These things are world famous.
It's awesome. And it says on your website too that beginners are welcome, no certification required. So obviously you've been spearfishing for a long time. Do you sort of, tailor trips based on sort of levels of expertise you've got?
Definitely do. We definitely do. Like, we get a lot of beginners. Obviously more the day trippers type of stuff. Like, a beginner's not going to come and do 10 days spearfishing, but the day trips, I've actually had guys that have never shot a spear gun before shoot wahoo on their first dive.
Yeah, wow. Well, neither of us have shot wahoo or dogtooth, so we're going to pay you a visit, I think, next year, depending on how budgeting goes.
It's coming out of the Noob Spiro budget, mate.
So we might be there in 10 years or 11 years or something.
Very good, all right.
So, Jagger, change gears a bit. What's the funniest thing you've experienced out spearfishing?
Funniest thing? We had a friend of mine's bucks party. These guys have been 4 years in a row now. They come over and do an 8-day trip, and it was one of the guys' bucks party on the trip, and we all thought it was a fun joke. They were going to play a joke on him, and instead of towing rye floats around the whole trip, the guys decided to bring over a sex doll from Sydney, and as he was getting in the water on his first dive for the morning, the GoPros are everywhere, and say hi to me wife for me, and these guys are swimming around with a sex doll on their rig lines trying to land dogtooth tuna on it. And, needless to say, they didn't land any, but
that's excellent.
Lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet it was. I'd love to see that video. Is that out on YouTube?
It is. It's on our Facebook page also. There's a clip of their trip. They shot a lot of fun fish. Had a great time. They were a really good bunch of guys.
Sex doll spearfishing. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, it's time for Pedro and the Fast 5 Facts.
See, it's time for Noob Spiro's Fast 5 Facts. Ay.
So, Jagger, this is where you give us your top 5 facts or pieces of advice for a Spiro just starting out.
My probably number one fact would be that fish sense. Study your fish. Pick one fish to target. Learn that fish. Learn the fish's movements, its habitat, and target it. Give yourself goals. It's a good one. Get involved with clubs, rec clubs, and other stuff like that to meet other guys. Broaden your horizon a little bit. There's never too much knowledge about it. You're always learning.
Yep. Number 3.
The buddy system.
Yep.
Stick to the buddy. Very, very important. Stick with it, buddy.
Good advice. Number 4?
Be persistent. Be persistent.
Be persistent.
It can get frustrating.
Yeah, for sure, especially starting out.
Stay at it.
Number 5, mate?
Listen to the guys. Like, try and put yourself around guys with more experience. Stick with the guys that know what they're doing, and don't be scared to push yourself. Don't be scared to jump in there with the guys that are better.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah,
advice.
nice.
That's how you learn, for sure.
That's how you get better, for sure. Don't be scared to hang with the big boys.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, I'll read them back to you. So we got number 1, fish sense. Study a fish, pick one, and target it. Develop some sort of goals around it, and just sort of own that space for a little while. I think you were sort of getting there. Number 2, clubs. Join a club or a group and hang around some experienced guys and keep that learning mindset. Number 3 was buddy system. Stay with your buddy. Get some good behaviours going with you and your mate. Number 4, be persistent. Stay at it. And I think that resonates with me pretty powerfully. Number 5, listen to experienced guys and don't be scared to hang with the big boys. Love it. Number 4, the be persistent, stay at it. When you started out, obviously dirty water, chasing the blackfish. I think a lot of us sort of start out like that, don't we, in the dirty water. Some of the guys look on Facebook, and we had a few guests sort of comment on similar stuff about, you know, they want to start chasing the big sort of fish that everyone wants, and you've got to start somewhere and enjoy it.
Oh, that's right. You find the love for it catching dinner. You really do.
For sure.
Absolutely, mate. All right, moving on to our next question. Crucial kit for noobs. What is one crucial piece of kit, and what advice do you have about that piece of kit? Or just maybe making homemade pastries.
Maybe you're adding some secret spice.
Definitely cinnamon rolls. Crucial piece of equipment. I can never find a perfect mask.
Okay.
A comfortable mask, a low volume mask. It's got to be my most crucial piece of equipment that I carry. You know, whether it's, you know, you can adjust the gun to do whatever you want to do with it, and same with the suit. But I think the mask for me is my most important piece of equipment.
Okay.
Have to be comfortable with that mask.
So what's your technique for finding a good mask? I mean, you're in isolation over there too. I'd imagine there's not too many spearfishing stores.
There's none. There's none. I've tried and errored a lot.
Yeah.
I've actually stuck with a Cressy, I think it's a Nano at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is, it's been really well. I stuck with it for a couple of weeks and wasn't very happy with it, but I stuck it out, and it's come good for me. Low volume mask, great mask.
Okay, cool. I've tried a few expensive ones. We've ordered a few. Turbo and I have both been through a few masks. Yeah. For me, the Pro Blue, or the cheap land and sea type models, the $40 jobs, they're the best.
Do the job.
Yeah. You just got to get past getting it defogged, like give it the lighter treatment, bit of anti-fog, toothpaste, whatever.
Shampoo in there.
Yeah, it's actually killing me. We've got a pretty expensive mask at the moment, and I'm not happy with it at all. Like, as soon as I change facial expression or anything, it will just flood, and I cannot stand the bloody thing. And I had a mask for 5 years. It was an old Spora sub one, and that thing didn't leak in 5 years, and then eventually it had like a little clip on the side and it broke, and it was then it was stuffed, and it devastating.
This is a little bit out of the ordinary, Jagger, but could you give me a rundown of the kit you use on a dive day right at the moment?
This time of the year, we're out chasing mainly mainly dogtooth, yellowfin, and mahi.
Okay.
Hot water.
Yep.
So again, back down to just a 3mm top, single 3-pound weight. My favourite mask.
Yeah.
And usually just at the moment, until I see any real threat for a big gun, I swim around with a 140 railgun with a reel on it, and that lands me anything that I want to get to around here without seeing a big tuna or a big yellowfin. All the mahi you want to shoot with that, mackerel, plenty.
Cool. And what brand of spear gun is that?
It's an Amro from Hawaii.
Yeah, cool. You talked about that last time we interviewed. I just wanted to run through the name again. So they're based in Hawaii, and they make alloy railguns?
They make alloy and timber ones.
Okay.
The timber, it's a fully enclosed track timber one, the one that I use. Love the gun, dead accurate. You can beef it up with 416s or a single 20. It still shoots the eye out of a garfish. It's a great gun.
Cool. All right. What about your reel? What reel are you using on that?
It's a bit of a homemade job actually. It's
Oh, no worries.
half Oma base and a Rabitech reel with a couple of nuts and bolts. Yeah, it's a real Fiji special, that one.
So, Kel, what fins and what fins are you wearing?
Good old Ray Powers Divage.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Run a pair of his fins. I can't express how comfortable they are. They're excellent. They're really good. Great pair of blades.
Mari's foot pocket.
I have a Stingray foot pocket.
Yep.
Use a Stingray foot pocket. They're a comfy one too. I were running the Millennium foot pockets, but I actually got wrapped up in a big yellowfin that we shot in the shooting line, and it ripped my fin off, and
Wow.
that one sunk to 2,000 metres of water. I needed some new pockets.
Oh, well, but the Stingrays are doing the job for you?
Stingrays are a great pocket. Yeah, really comfortable, very flexible.
Cool. So what would you like our listeners to do after listening to the impressive exploits of Freedive Fiji and Jaga Crossingham?
I can see anybody that's interested in coming over for a dive, please do. Don't hesitate to get in contact with myself or my wife or any of the guys over here that are working. You can get hold of us Facebook, emails, charters at freedivefiji.com, any of our Facebook page. Contact numbers are all on our website.
We'll link all that up in your show notes page, so people and a few of the videos and photos you've mentioned, I think, along the way.
Yep. You can. It's a pretty live Facebook page and an Instagram account. There's always pictures of fish and what's happening over here, weather-wise and stuff.
Ah, awesome.
If anybody's in doubt, wants to see what's going on, they can always check that out.
Mate, if anyone's, and we did this last time, if anyone's sort of umming and ahhing and they're on the fence, let's just go. I just want to ask a few questions, and I think this will sell anybody on it. All right, Jagger, what's the biggest wahoo you've shot in Fiji? This is fun.
My biggest one was 46 kilos. Seen them in excess of 60.
Yeah.
Seen some real monsters.
Right, what's your biggest mackerel in Fiji?
They don't call them mackerel, though. They call them tangeri.
No, walu.
Oh, walu. That's right.
Walu. The biggest mackerel I've been involved with was around 104 pound.
So 50 kilo.
About 48.
Wow.
Yeah, 48 kilo.
Right. Mahi?
The biggest we've shot is not real big, only around 13 kilo. Yeah, that's a very common size, but that's the common size. They don't get much less than 10. They don't get much bigger than 18.
And dogtooth.
I just shot my personal best only about a month ago, actually, after many attempts.
Yeah.
Around 74 kilo. That's
not a bad fish, mate.
That's a punishing fish. That'll take you for a ride.
You guys have pulled them down over 80.
Oh, wow.
We've gone through the list. I'm frothing. Well done, Turbo. Good question. Yellowfin, just to top it off.
Haven't broke the 100 kilo mark.
Oh, that's terrible.
Cheers, mate. I'm not going.
Nah. I was thinking about it.
What was it? How big?
100 kilo. We're very close. 96 is the biggest one we've got.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Jeez.
All right.
Maybe, yeah.
It's been really, really good talking to you, Jaga. Have you got a parting piece of guidance for guys starting out, particularly?
Piece of advice for starting out: it's never too late. It's never too early. Get into it.
Love it. All right, thanks, Jaga, for joining us tonight. Third time lucky. It was really good to have you on the show.
Yeah, no worries, guys.
And our audience would have got a ton out of that show. So, come and check out Jaga's show notes at noobspiro.com. Oh, good. Thanks, Jaga.
Thanks for talking to us, man.
No worries, guys. Take it easy.
Shrek, why don't you tell our listeners how they can save some money on spearfishing gear?
Well, Adreno have partnered up with Noobspiro to offer listeners $20 off all purchases over $200.
And how do they take advantage of this deal, mate?
Listeners can use the code Noobspiro at checkout online at spearfishing.com.au, or they can use it in-store at the Brisbane or Sydney stores.
Excellent. And that code is Noobspiro.
That's right, Noobspiro.
Thanks for listening to today's show. Make sure to leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. To learn more about becoming a better Spearo, visit us at noobspearo.com and subscribe to our newsletter.
Turbo, why would listeners want to subscribe to the Noob Spearo newsletter?
Well, Shrek, if they subscribe to our newsletter, we will send them the Noob Spearo Guide to Getting Started, which includes the Dive Day equipment checklist. Not only that, you get the top 10 tips for becoming a better Spearo from the world's best and more.
Can you give us an example of one of those tips?
Get a mentor. That's one that pops up a lot.
Ah, nice.
Like I was to you.
I'm in.